Hello there, it's just 3 minutes to the top of the hour, but you're just in time for NTV Tonight. These are our highlights.
Tonight, the missing bridges to life and the muzzled voices of Kenyans demanding better.
BBI itakuja nipunguzie mizigo soko, ama nilipie rent.
But those in authority are building bridges to power.
Also tonight, damning revelations show how hospitals exploit need for healthcare.
Hospitali wamenifrustrate sana. Maana kila mara huwa wananipigia simu wakiniambia hii pesa unalipa kwa mwezi ni kidogo sana.
Medical Council launches probe into Nairobi Women's Hospital and the health sector is on its deathbed.
Cowards or victims of circumstances. KDF dismisses report claiming that Kenyan soldiers hid in the grass during the Manda Bay attack.
And the keys to the Vice-Chancellor's office are missing. Just where will Professor Kiama sit?
I'm occupying at 19th floor of the tower. I have not yet entered that office.
Agitated staff members call for speedy resolution.
Live from Nation Center, this is NTV Tonight with Smriti Vidyarthi and Masai.
Welcome to the broadcast. Our sign language interpreter tonight is David Agondoa. Now, over the past few weeks, we've been focused on one powerful document in the hands of a few powerful people seated around an exclusive table discussing powerful options for themselves.
Tonight, we focus on the one crucial person missing from this table and from the conversation, you. And the missing bridge is the one you care most about, the bridge to life. That is an affordable life, affordable healthcare, affordable education, and in a secure environment.
Well, tonight we're joined by our reporters Kennedy Mureithi, Olive Burrows and Lillian Kiare on our team coverage as we fight in your corner with a series of reports that you have said should be a priority for the authorities.
And you'll see how all this ties in, and we will be starting the focus with Kennedy Mureithi, senior public and political affairs reporter who has been following the conversations of the Building Bridges initiative since its inception and even the rallies most recently in Western Kenya, and has been in a position to tell you what the conversation is put out to the Kenyans and even on the ground. As they say, the reality or situation on the ground is different, and many have been asking, is this Building Bridges initiative report about Kenyans, or is it led by the political class?
Well, we will later on hear views from you as we did sample them, and a diverse sense of feeling around the Building Bridges initiative, and we'll get to that in just a moment. We'll also look at other sectors such as the health sector in the country and also the situation in the education sector.
That's right. We'll also be getting the views directly from people in different parts of the country, people who are the day-to-day persons, and they have the biashara, the day-to-day biasharas, mama wa mboga, those who are in the transport sector, and they will be talking candidly to the leadership, and we definitely hope that they're watching. Mureithi, you've been following this process since it started, and you're very keen on it, and it seems ever more so about the politicians than the mwananchi.
Well, a very good evening to all of you. And one of the things that we've actually noticed in these meetings that we've been attending is that there have been a lot of undertones that have the 2022 elections in mind. And for politicians, you know, here in Kenya, once an election is done, they start thinking about the next election that is 5 years ago. And those who are defeated now start thinking of how they will get into government. And that is what has been the case. Apart from where I went last weekend, that is in Kakamega, where we realized that there was a document that was being given. We are also told that just before that meeting and the rallies that are being organized, there are caucuses that are being organized that are bringing together all the governors from that particular region, in that particular region where these BBI meetings are being held, and they are handing in a document that is at the start of these rallies. But what takes up from the beginning of that rally is politics that are geared towards the next election. Today, Governor Hassan Joho of Mombasa has also said that on Friday there will be a delegates meeting bringing together all the coastal counties, and they will be coming up with a document that will be presented on Saturday. Now, this is a very short time. Remember, they will be meeting on Friday, discussing things that are supposed to be tabled to this particular rally on Saturday. That is very short time. What if people do not agree? But we have seen that already there are undertones of what will be happening in 2022. Deputy President William Ruto, when he spoke in a funeral that is for former Minister Mailu in Ukambani over the weekend, said that these meetings, the BBI has presented an opportunity for leaders to talk and for new alliances. In Kakamega, Francis Atwoli, that is the Koto Secretary General, also said that they view this BBI as a way for the Western part of the country to come into government. So all these people at the end of the day do not want to look at the 9-point agenda that had been given by President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga at the steps of Harambee, but want to look at this BBI as a means to an end, and the end is who will gain power. Already the Deputy President allies have actually been calling out the BBI, the proponents of the BBI. They have been calling them out, saying that it does not care about what the Kenyans want, but they really do care about what the end game is, and that is 2022. And that is the reason why they have actually joined these campaigns, just either to spoil or just to hear what it is all about. But also this other side has been accusing the Deputy President and his allies of having campaigned since 2 years ago. That is when the elections were done, through church harambees, through all these meetings. So they are trying to level it out, because every day when this side calls a press conference, the other one calls a press conference, just to counter what has been happening. This Saturday in Mamangina grounds, it promises to be a very interesting rally where we will see both of them come. Today I was at a press conference where leaders who spoke were of the opinion that yes, you are welcome, but they have been cautioned against some of the statements that they will be making, or even they will not even be given an opportunity to talk. So these are some of the intrigues that are bedeviling this BBI, as we also look for the voice of the technical committee that was given the opportunity by President Uhuru Kenyatta to extend and actually to go out and listen to views. So are these views going to be looking at what you as the Kenyan want, or are they still going to be looking at what the politicians want? Sentiments that have also come out are of the opinion that they want to expand government, so that the governors are given a third tier of government, so that probably the ones who are serving in their second term are going to get an opportunity to probably hide themselves as they go on. So this is something that, as I also covered the governors on Monday, they were of the opinion that all of them are supporting this BBI, and with regards to them being given another opportunity to serve Kenyans as a third tier. So all of them are looking at where they are going to be accommodated in government, but all this is just what politics is all about, as Senator Sakaja told us today. Here is the story that I prepared. The Building Bridges Initiative meetings around the country have been the newest point of friction between supporters of President Uhuru Kenyatta and opposition leader Raila Odinga and those supporting Deputy President William Ruto. The narrative driven by the two groups has overshadowed the main purpose of the document, which is to address the 9 points agreed between President Kenyatta and Raila Odinga at the steps of Harambee House about 2 years ago. The 9 points are ethnic antagonism, lack of a national ethos, inclusivity, devolution, divisive elections, security, corruption, shared prosperity, and responsibility. But these issues have faded away as the focus has shifted to 2022 politics. The Deputy President's side has consistently argued that the meetings are a means to a Raila presidency come 2022, backed by state machinery that is keen on elbowing William Ruto out of the race. And now the DP's people are knocking on the door.
That we will participate and, where necessary, take charge of these public rallies.
Now they are telling us that they are coming to Mombasa so that we can join hands and have one meeting. The other day they were saying these are waste of public money. We are using taxpayers' money. Now, what is it? This is a double speak that must stop.
The Uhuru Raila axis believes their intentions and idea of attending the Mombasa meeting that was first mooted by Gatondo South MP Moses Kuria is simply to spoil the party.
Tumeona hizi vitabu tumesoma. We've seen it, we've worn the t-shirt and we've gone with it. That come, destabilize that meeting or come with chaos and then say, look, you see, tumefukuzwa. Ama you see, even sponsoring goons. And say, you see, we've been chased away from this meeting or we're not being allowed. So BBI is about fighting one individual. Tumeonea 18.
Isikuwe ni masharti ati kwamba kama sisi tuaja Mombasa lazima tuongee. Manake huwezi kwenda kwa nyumba ya mtu alafu uanze kulazimisha mtu mimi nitaketi hapa nitalala pale ama nitafanya hiki ama kingine. Sisi wote hata mimi nikienda kule Mombasa siendi na masharti ati kwamba lazima niongee. Tukienda kule Mombasa ni nafasi ya watu wa Mombasa.
The Mombasa BBI chapter promises to be a dress rehearsal for what is to come with other meetings planned to take place around the country. It's feared that it could all become messy. A case in point is the Kakamega Alternative meeting led by DP Ruto allies that was stopped from proceeding. According to the organizers, the meeting had been called to talk about farmers' issues because to them, the rival BBI gatherings are just political rallies.
I'm shocked. I saw the deputy president the other day complaining about early campaigns. That these BBI meetings are about early campaigns in the country. I was really shocked. I couldn't believe it. When himself he has been campaigning for the last 2 years to become president in 2022. Now when Kenyans come together to discuss a document, he feels threatened. He says, this is early campaign. Let us not be myopic.
So it is not about 2022. Of course it is about politics. But politics, what is politics? There is nothing more political than a country deciding its moment is a moment of unity. That is very political.
Well, that is what the politicians want, and they are trying to organize what is actually going to matter to them most. But it is not just that. There is so much that is happening in the country that politicians have been called upon to address, and these issues are actually what really matter to Kenyans. My colleague Olive Barros is on the other side just to see what is it all about, and are they going to be talked about as this conversation moves forward? Olive.
Thank you, Muredi. Now, my report has to do with a conversation that has been trending, and that has to do with leaked WhatsApp conversations between the administrators of the Nairobi Women's Hospital. It has exposed how private hospitals are exploiting the sick and the scared for profit. Now, the Association of Kenya Insurers says it has the numbers to corroborate the avalanche of responses, that particular post that was made by Maurice K, more popularly known as Owa on Twitter. And the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Council says it has launched formal investigations. Here's that report.
Mimi mwenyewe mpaka leo sina amani nikifikiria huu unyama ambao nimetendewa na hii hospitali. Management ya Nairobi Women Hospital Adams, tafadhali ninawaomba kwa niaba ya wale watu wote ambao wanateseka kwa kulipa bills katika hiyo hospitali yenu, mkuwe na utu. Mnaweza kaa mreview the situations that you have put these people whom you have been caring for their patients. May you review your loss.
As Kenyans took to social media on Tuesday and Wednesday to castigate private hospitals that put their commercial interests ahead of patient care, for widow Nabatwa Kisa, it was like pouring salt into a wound. In July of last year, he experienced firsthand the lack of empathy exposed in leaked WhatsApp group chats of Nairobi Women's Hospital administrators. The administrators conspired to limit discharges in order to pad their bottom line.
Akiwa pale alikaa siku 3, hata nikaanza kuwauliza kama ni meningitis mnatibu. Meningitis huchukua muda gani? Wakaniambia ni 48 hours. Nikamwambia basi sio meningitis juu tumepita hizo 48 hours yenye ninajua. Wakaniambia ninawasumbua niende nyumbani.
He complied. It was while he was there that he was informed of his wife's demise. His bill, 1.3 million shillings. And for 1.5 months, he was unable to lay his wife to rest. The hospital turning a deaf ear to the driver's desperate offer of collateral and an installments plan. That is, until he alerted the media to his plight.
Hadi wa leo, hii hospitali wamenifrustrate sana. Maana kila mara huwa wananipigia simu wakiniambia hii pesa unalipa kwa mwezi ni kidogo sana. Lazima ujaribu kando na hii 10,000 utafute pesa ingine umalize hii deni mapema juu ulipoweka title deed utapoteza hii shamba.
Even the discharge process. You look at the discharge process. At times it is so slow and cumbersome. Either the doctor is not there. One of the hospitals even signing the discharges.
And if a study carried out by the Association of Kenya Insurers is anything to go by, the agony Wakisa went through trying to feed the money-hungry monster that is the private hospital system is not isolated.
As medical underwriters, we had a feeling that some of the patients were being unnecessarily detained for reasons of probably sustaining bed occupancy. Yeah, and that's what prompted us to do the study. And we also found out the cost, average cost per patient, and what that we have all that data here. Okay. But I think for this purpose, we can leave it at such.
Okay.
Yes.
So after carrying out the study, did you find that your fears were unfounded or founded?
They were founded.
The cat out of the bag, the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Council is taking a closer look at the hospital's discharge practices.
People are saying they have been told, please go out and get more patients, detain this particular patient. That is something that we need to go and investigate. Actually, as soon as the hospital responds, whether they hear this or not, as soon as the hospital responds, I'm double sure the council will make a decision of visiting and evaluating beginning a particular period.
But the problem, Aki says, is bigger than Nairobi Women's Hospital. As the government strives towards affordable, accessible healthcare for all, the private hospitals continue to raise the stakes.
In late last year, there were circulars to insurance companies informing them that come this year, there will be increase in all services. When we ask, because medical is normally done on accommodation, how do we manage this? They say that you cannot, if you can't get the correct premium from the insured, you should not hold us at that point because you cannot get enough premiums.
Hospitali siku hizi zinanyanyasa wagonjwa sana. Na kila mwananchi ukipeleka mgonjwa wako hospitali lazima kuwe makini sana. Na ni vile nimekosa tu njia ya kushtaki hiyo hospitali juu kuwashtaki itahitaji niwe na fedha ndipo tukabiliane na wao kotini.
Olive Barrows, NTV.
All right, it's been said that you're only one serious illness in Kenya away from bankruptcy as our leaders are able to access healthcare services outside the country. And healthcare is not the only burden that Kenyans have to deal with. Lilian Kiarie has dealt more specifically with the issue of the cost of living. Lilian, over to you.
Olive, thank you very much. 2019 was a tough business year, which saw companies folding and laying off workers, accompanied by mergers and acquisitions in the banking and hospitality sector. The arrival of 2020 did not bring any relief. Many Kenyans are having to dig deeper into their pockets to cope with an increase in the cost of living, which is sparking the prices of foodstuffs. I made a visit to various markets in Nairobi to just get a feeling of what was happening. Here is my report. According to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, inflation is at a 4-month high, and from what we hear and see, it is not set to change now.
Maisha yamekuwa mabaya sana. Hii ni kwa sababu vitu vimeongezeka bei. Unaona, kwa mfano hii hoho tulikuwa tunanunua 50 per kg. Sasa hizi zinaenda mpaka 150 per kg. Nilikuwa nauza 10 ama 21. Sasa hii naiuza 250. Unakuta tulikuwa tunalipa 50 fare ya kwetu kutoka hapa mpaka Kiambu. Unakuta sasa tunalipa 70. Mimi nasikia tu BBI. Inatuhusu nini kama wa Kenya shwari? Hakuna. BBI itakuja nipunguzie mizigo soko, ama nilipie rent.
Although government estimates indicate that the economy inched closer to the 6% mark last year, many Kenyans say they have not felt the effect of the growth as they have had to tighten their budgets to make ends meet.
Kwa zile saduku tulikuwa tunanunua kwa 7,500, late not tunanunua kwa giri 9 na 500. So by December tulikuwa tunauza nyanya kwa 100, 130. Sasa tunauza nyanya package 150. So imekuwa gumu kwa customer kununua. Mwananchi wa kawaida anaendelea na kuumia, by which wenye wanafaa kututetea late no wanatetea tu kuhusu BBI, but si mwananchi wa kawaida.
With inflation rising from 5.56% in November to 5.82% in December, Kenyans have been pushed to the edge.
Price ya kitunguu imeenda juu sana, sababu wakulima wengi wanasema mali yao imeharibika. Sasa transport tena inakuwa very expensive. Watu tulikuwa tunauza tuseme 100, sasa ni 120 per kilo. Neti tulikuwa tunauza 800, sasa imefika 1000.
Invest in business na hiyo business haitoi pesa. That's why watoto hata wengi wako nyumbani juu hawana school fees. Maana sisi tunategemea kwa business. Kama business haiendi, it means hata hiyo pesa ya kwenda shule inakosa.
On the shelves, a 2-kilogram packet of sugar that was retailing at 200 shillings is now going at an average of 230 shillings, while a kilogram of aromatic rice has shot up to 170 shillings from 160 shillings. A 6 kg LPG cylinder of gas has increased by an average of 100 shillings from 965 shillings to 1,055 shillings. Lillian Kiarie, NTV. Matters politics to now matters of the rising cost of living. Let's now take a look at matters education. Back to you, Smriti.
Right, Lillian, thanks very much. Well, more than 250,000 Form 1 students are yet to report to their new schools, even as the government steps up a campaign aimed at achieving the 100% transition policy.
This year has seen many needy students come out in search for help. NTV's education reporter Sharon Baranga filed this particular piece.
Catherine Boari is one of the candidates who sat their KCPE exams last year.
We are ready to go.
Yes. She was invited to join Machakos Girls High School, but 1 week after Form 1 students began reporting, she was still at home for lack of school fees. The Education Cabinet Secretary was here to take her to school.
Nasikia vizuri, nimeenda shule na nimevaa uniform ya shule. Nashukuru kwa wenye ambao wamenilipia, wabarikiwe na ongezewe, na wale ambao bado hawajalipiwa naomba wasaidiwe.
We have of the 750,000, we have entered about 650,000 on NEMIS, and that is also going on well.
Wycliffe Omondi is another student who was forced to work at Dendora's dump site to raise bus fare to travel to Igoki Boys High School in Meru. He sold plastics and eventually was able to raise 600 shillings to get him to school. He was admitted upon arrival without paying school fees.
Kilo nilikuwa naenda na kota plastiki, hizo machupa nauza, kila kilo ni 20. Sasa nikizipimisha napewa 100.
No teacher in this republic has any power to send a child, a Kenyan child for that matter, who has arrived at the school. And if the principal still insists that the child goes home, it is the principal that will go home. It's not even about Teacher Service Commission now. It's about what we have been told to do as a government, and everybody must comply.
The campaign to ensure all students who sat last year's KCPE exams are in school is on.
All Form 1 students are expected to be in school by 24th January. Government officers, including chiefs, have one assignment, that of going door to door and ensuring each and every student who sat last year's KCPE is in school.
The message is still very, very clear for my officers in the field there, that please get out and find out which children are not reported. Don't go to schools that are on the roadsides alone. Go to the schools in the interior.
Students who received scholarships will also be investigated in an effort to ensure only the needy ones actually benefit.
Because we are also going to do thorough due diligence. And if we find out that some people are claiming that they can't pay and yet they can pay, we shall make sure that they pay. because this is supposed to assist only those people who are unable to assist themselves.
The National Education Management Information System has so far captured details of over 750,000 students who are currently in school. But CS Magoha has his work cut out because thousands more children are still missing from school. Sharon Baranga, NTV, in the county of Machakos.
Well, with the minds of Kenyans distracted by their pockets, which are feeling the pinch of the tough economic times, we sought to find out what they think about the BBI.
BBI, so far vile nimesikia ni kama viongozi wetu tu ndo wanaijua kiundani zaidi, lakini hawataki kutueleza ukweli ya kwamba inahusu nini.
Kama mimi sasa nitajibu nini BBI ni nini? Unless watupatie nini vile watasema tutane kwa machifu watupatie tukaisome ndio tuelewe ni nini. Lakini kwa saa hii hakuna mtu ambaye ataweza kufafanua BBI ni nini.
Asiwezi kusema ni mbaya wala ni nzuri juu sijafanya nini? Sijaisoma au si ndio?
Kulingana na mimi PPI inamaanisha kwamba tuunganishe Wakenya ili Wakenya wote tuweze kukaa kama familia moja, tusiwe na chuki na majirani na mandugu ili tuwe na amani.
In my own opinion, I look at it as an effort to reunite the politicians. It's an effort to put them together, maybe just for their own selfish gains.
To me, it is like a cartel of politicians who want to use it to get political positions.
Kulingana na vile tunasikia, BBI ni kuunganisha Wakenya pamoja, hadi kama ina create position.
Building Preachers Initiative is a blessing disguised in that for the first time that after the handshake between the Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga and His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, we have peace. So I'm here to be excited about BBI, and I want to tell Kenyans to be excited, embrace BBI.
BBI naelewa kwamba ni kila mtu kubuild bridges so that kila mtu anaweza vuka kutoka jangwani aende kwa greener pastures.
I don't know what it is. I have only heard it amongst the few elite, and for the amount that it's worth, it's a total waste of money considering there are children dying, there are police who don't even have shoes.
I don't know what the BBI report entails.
What I know about BBI is the corruption part, where if you report a corruption case, you get some 10%. For instance, if someone stole 10,000, you'll be given 10% of it.
Wakenya wameongea, and we will keep amplifying the voices of Kenyans as this conversation continues. We're taking a break here on NTV tonight with 24 minutes past the hour. There has been quite a lot to say about what Kenyans feel and care about. Stay with us.
Je, maumivu ya kichwa na kukosesha amani? Kaluma Strong hutuliza maumivu ya kichwa, maumivu ya mwili na hata huondoa joto jingi mwilini. Kaluma Strong ina aspirin kama kiungo. Maumivu yakizidi, muone daktari.
Who wants to answer? Mary?
Mary has a toothache.
Oh, I see. And who knows why?
Because her tooth is too big.
No, it might be a hole in her tooth called a cavity. That's why I brush twice a day using Colgate.
Imagine this is your tooth and these are food acids that cause cavities. Colgate with calcium and fluoride helps prevent cavities for maximum cavity protection. And now available in a 12-gram sachet for fresh breath. Only 15 shillings.
Embakasi Benedicta Academy Utawala is a center of academic excellence, mixed day and boarding. We offer pre-primary and primary school classes. We have fully implemented the new competency-based curriculum from PP1 to grade 4 and offer French classes for free. Our pupils are equipped to be productive and disciplined. January intake is ongoing. Apply now. For more information, call us on the numbers on your screen. Embakasi Benedicta Academy Utawala. Learn and shine.
Your multi-bet is only trying to hit the bullseye. Oh, you lose one match, but only in Mozart. Mozart Refund, lose one game, get your cash back. Make a decision. Terms and conditions apply.
Birthday party.
Birthday party.
Birthday party. Birthday party.
Are we not invited?
We have gifts.
Malaria.
Mommy, best.
Or die.
Party!
Compared to laundry spray, Mortein Doom Power Guard kills disease causing pests instantly. Mortein Doom Power Guard.
Lay it on there. Here. There. That's it. Yum. Eat up.
See that? He's finally getting what he deserves.
And beating him up isn't good enough for him. They should have killed him right then and there.
Yvonne.
Anna, why are you so concerned about Salvador?
I always thought I'd never love someone that way again. But then you showed up. And I learned to love again.
What are you talking about? I overheard your conversation with one of the guards. Maybe you can, drag me along with you?
Welcome back. According to a new study, the healthcare system in the country is more of physical structures than service delivery, and it's ailing from a strained human resource.
The national government and county governments have been putting up structures without considering the population to be served as per WHO guidelines.
The findings were published in the Kenya Harmonized Health Facility Assessment Report launched today alongside the first ever health research observatory portal in the country.
The quality of health service delivery across the country is generally inadequate and is in need of attention. This is according to findings of the Kenya Harmonized Health Facilities Assessment Report launched today. Even though Kenya has reached the WHO target of 2 facilities per population of 10,000 people, the new report showed that both the national and county governments have not matched this with the concurrent development to conform to the current norms and standards.
In terms of essential medicines, we looked at 32 drugs, essential drugs, that we expect again to find at all facility levels, and the mean availability of essential medicine was 44%, and no facility had all the drugs that we were looking for. Out of all the list, there's no facility that ticked that they had all.
Political influence by members of county assemblies have been blamed for the failure to install health facilities to match the recommended ratio to population. The study was conducted in about 98% of all public and private facilities in the country. The report shows an increase in acquisition of machines and equipment in the counties, but the country is still experiencing a shortage of staff to operate the fixed equipment.
However, collectively coming together, then we can be able to jointly address all those gaps that the technical team have highlighted to us.
Almost all counties have bought a number of ambulances for emergency services, but the report says the ambulances rarely achieve their purpose due to uneven distribution of the vehicles. According to World Health Organization, there should be at least 1 ambulance per 70,000 to 100,000 population. The purpose of the ambulance is to reach any place within 15 to 20 minutes after the distress call. However, the report shows that it is not the case in most public and private facilities in the country. The study also revealed there is limited bed capacity and medical equipment for diagnostic purposes across the country. The survey recommends a quick adjustment in some of the indicators that Kenya is lagging behind, for instance, service delivery in areas such as mental health and postnatal care for mothers and newborn, even as the country prepares its bed for the coming to birth of the nationwide universal health coverage launch. Eunice Omolo, NTV, Nairobi.
Right, away from that now, and the Kenya Defence Forces has disowned a report relied on by the New York Times in a story that paints the KDF officers as cowards.
The New York Times alleges Kenyan soldiers left American troops exposed during an attack in Lamu, leading to the death of 3 Americans.
Well, KDF, through spokesperson Lieutenant Colonel Paul Njuguna, says that investigations are still underway to establish what exactly happened and describes the publication as strange. Ken Majungu reports.
The publication that went live early Wednesday afternoon perhaps is the only one that has attempted to explain what could have happened at the Manda Bay earlier in the month when suspected Al-Shabaab militants overran the US military camp. The publication goes ahead to say many details of the attack remain murky and the military's Africa Command has released only scanty particulars pending an investigation, but goes ahead to conclude that, surprised by the attack, American commandos took around an hour to respond. Many of the local Kenyan forces assigned to defend the base hid in the grass, while other American troops and support staff were corralled in tents with little protection to wait out the battle. KDF through Lieutenant Colonel Paul Njuguna, however, dismissed these assertions by the publication as strange. Colonel Njuguna told NTV that it's difficult to discuss matters under investigation and that so far no official report has been released or shared with anyone. KDF also say they will avail the report as soon as investigations are done and the final report is ready. 5 terrorists were killed during the attack. Several others have been arrested at different locations, including Nairobi's Isili area. The Manda Bay airfield is utilized by the US forces, whose mission include providing training to African partners, responding to crisis and protecting US interests in the region. The attack is said to have involved light and small arms. After gaining access to the compound, the Kenya Defense Forces and the AFRICOM pushed back the militants. 6 civilian aircrafts were also reportedly damaged in that attack. Ken Mijungu, NTV.
Embattled University of Nairobi Vice-Chancellor Professor Stephen Kiama is now unable to access his office at the university's main campus.
Kiama is accusing Professor Isaac Mbeche, who had been appointed as the acting VC by Education CS George Magoha, of refusing to provide the keys.
The squabbles are now threatening the smooth running of operations at the university, as Vincent Oduor tells us.
Lecturers and staff members hold hands at the famous Great Court at the University of Nairobi main campus. Solidarity forever. They appeal to the powers that be a speedy resolution to the leadership wrangles that are now threatening operations at the institution. Professor Stephen Kiama is said to have invited himself to the gathering, but was strictly allowed in as a member of staff and not a vice-chancellor.
We shall hold on until we get a vice-chancellor that is supported by government. The reason is we are a state corporation. We depend entirely on government subventions. We don't want to work with someone who tomorrow will not be vice-chancellor this afternoon, because then we'll be investing in nothing and it's not worth it.
Kiama may be running the university on orders of the Labour Court, but he has yet to access office. He claims that Professor Isaac Mbeche, whom he has sent on leave and whose appointment as acting vice-chancellor was revoked by the court, has refused to provide the keys to the seat of power.
But over the weekend, there's someone who came with some people with the padlocks, and they changed and carried away the keys. They changed the locks with their own private locks, they put them, and then after that they carried away the key. That obviously sends a completely different kind of message, and I don't want to be part of this. For now, I'm occupying a 19th floor of the tower. I have not yet entered that office, because then we are still getting this person to come and open because he still has the keys.
Professor Kiama has received another short term in the arm after the Employment and Labor Relations Court on Wednesday declined to suspend earlier orders which halted Education CS George Magoha's Gazette notice. Now the students are a worried lot.
President Uhuru Kenyatta Muigai to come clear on the status of the University of Nairobi concerning the Vice-Chancellor position.
So we want the government
to come in and state it clearly so that we don't have the point of politics in this VC position.
The leadership wrangles at the University of Nairobi has created two camps among the students and the staff, with one faction supporting Professor Mbeche and the other one supporting Professor Kiama, a move that is now threatening the reputation of the oldest institution of higher learning in the country. Vincent Oduor, NTV, Nairobi.
Right, well, since the BBI report was launched and the public sensitization rallies started, Deputy President William Ruto has not spoken directly to any media house.
But now he's ready to open up. He'll be speaking exclusively, to NTV tomorrow night.
Siasa ya ukabila na chuki na mgawanyiko haitakuwepo tena.
Ruto should have the courage to face the president.
Iko shida hapa, iko shida pale, iko matatizo sijui iko na gani.
These are small things, wachana na hizo.
Jihadharini na manabii wa uongo. Wanakuja kwenu wakivalia ngozi ya kondoo.
Hamuwezi kunifukuza ODM ati mkanifuata ati mnanifukuza Jubilee. Kila mtu afanye kazi yake. Kama wewe ni mtu watchman, fanya kazi ya watchman. There is no need to hurry. Kuna wakati tutashindana kisiasa, no problem. Let us finish with BBI. We all don't have a problem with BBI.
Where do they find money to go campaigning for a document that has no opposition?
Bora mwisho mwananchi anaamua, leteni.
Ruto speaks tomorrow night to NTV and, of course, addressing the nation at 9 o'clock with Ken Mijungu.
That's right. Let's just take you back to education matters for a moment. And the Education Cabinet Secretary, Professor George Magoha, has ordered the immediate lifting of the suspension of 17 students from Kabianga High School who had been sent home for failing to sit an exam to attend a church service.
The school principal says the students who subscribed to the Seventh-day Adventist faith were not suspended as reported. Brenda Wanga reports.
It took a phone call from the man at the helm of the Education Ministry to reinstate the 17 students in what is now turning into a conflict between religion and education. The students had been sent home after choosing church over an exam, a move that the school's principal says was tantamount to indiscipline and disregard for school regulations.
We have respected their day of worship.
The school insists that it was cognizant of the religious beliefs of the students and had tried to accommodate them.
Then we said, why can't they forfeit their entertainment of Saturday evening because they have already wasted 2 nights? Instead of going for entertainment between 7 to 10 in the night, they can now go to class, compensate by writing the exam. This has also become a tall order because they believe they have a right to entertainment.
The school administration says that this was an isolated case as other SDA adherents sat the exam without any hindrance. The principal says all students and parents and guardians are well aware of the school regulations and had signed off on them. He is standing his ground.
We cannot run several schools in one because then the Muslims will say there will be no classes on Friday. They have said for them there are no classes on Saturday. Then the Protestants will say there are no classes on Sunday. Then the government would need to revisit and see if we are becoming a religious state. Then our program should run from Monday to Thursday.
The Kericho County Education Director now says that the school and the parents have reached an amicable solution and that the children will be admitted back to school immediately.
What we don't really advocate is where you are going to worship and then you are told now you cannot worship. That one is already provided for.
Brenda Wanga, NTV.
And it's 40 minutes past the hour. At this moment, you should be listening to the deep voice of Julian Samboko. And he's standing by to bring you.
You try.
I was trying. That's why I said to the deep voice of Julian Samboko. He's standing by with that. We've heard about the high cost of living in the first part with Lillian Kiarie. He's going to be talking about, amongst other things, the high cost of labor in the business up next.
Selena!
Toto, where is mommy?
Today's a toilet day.
What? Oh.
Selena!
Toilet day?
Tomorrow we're hosting a party and it's a matter of my reputation.
It's a toilet, not a white shirt. Even if you spend your entire day cleaning with bleach and detergent, it still won't be party ready.
Impossible.
Challenge. Harpic 10X.
Even if you use bleach and detergent 10 times, they won't give you the same sparkling clean toilet that Harpic 10X will give you.
Wow!
Harpic 10X.
Harpic, Kenya's #1 toilet cleaner.
Your multibet is only trying to hit the bullseye. Oh, you lose one match, but only in Mozart. Mozart Refund, lose one game, get your cash back. Make a decision. Terms and conditions apply.
At Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, our mission is to produce innovators, leaders, entrepreneurs for the region's socio-economic transformation. Our experienced faculty, modern teaching, learning and research facilities, as well as industry-driven curricula, continues to give JKUAT graduates an edge over their peers. Do not wait. Secure your future by visiting our campuses spread across the country, or visit our website to enroll for January, May and September 2020 intake. JKUAT, setting trends in higher education, research, innovation and entrepreneurship.
Molfix's breathable surface, developed with airsoft technology, is very soft and provides the best Molfix skincare.
I've found the best diaper for my baby's sensitive skin.
All babies deserve a high-quality diaper. You should also try Molfix.
This festive season, get a decoder with subscription at an unbelievable festive offer of only 1,499 shillings. Children can enjoy amazing cartoons on Nickelodeon, while for women, great soaps and drama on Novella E+ and Rambo TV. For men, it's Arsenal and Manchester United. You can also pay 1 month and enjoy 2 weeks free on a higher bouquet. For more information, call 0719 077 077.
Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
Kwa majina ni Shida Gesanga. Mimi ni mchezaji tu. Ndoto yangu mimi iko nitachezea Harambee Starlet niende ngambo. Nikirudi nitasaidia mamangu kwa shida. Na ninaona hii ndoto itaanza na Betika na community.
Hii timu yenye hii msichana yangu anachezea, tulianza tukiwa na maono tunataka tukuze talents ya wasichana, sababu wasichana huwa wanabaki nyuma na wanaenda ma street.
We are very excited because every time we see the excited faces of the young players when they get their kids and their new balls, it gives us a urge to continue investing in the communities.
Betika na community iliongeza morali kwa timu ya Gusii Starlet mpaka wakapiwa mtu mabao 23. Tukiwa na Betika na community, hii timu itaenda mbali, itacheza premier na watoto watajisaidia.
Eldoret Technical Training Institute (ETTI) is a student-centered institution offering competency-based training and market-driven courses at higher diploma and certificate level. Registration for January, May and September 2020 intakes is ongoing in the following programs: Building and Civil Engineering, Business Administration and Commerce, Agriculture and Animal Health, Travel, Tourism and Hospitality Management, Education, Social Studies, Information Communication Technology, Accounting, Banking and Finance, Medical, Health Sciences, Journalism and Mass Communication. Apply now. SMS your details to the numbers on your screen. Eldoret Technical Training Institute. Growing reputation.
Let's get down to business. Welcome, I am Julian Amboko. Labor costs in Kenya are high and rendering the economy less competitive in the global market. This is according to the World Bank chief economist Penelope Goldberg, who says the country could tap into alternative avenues to enhance its position in the global market. I sat down with Penelope to explore this and more. Talking about industry and manufacturing, we've also had of instances where the comparison is made in terms of labor costs, where we're told it's a lot more favorable in markets in Asia compared to countries such as Kenya. How did you see this impacting the country and the region at large as far as playing in the global value chain is concerned?
Actually, labor costs in Kenya are very high. They are high in absolute terms compared to other countries, to other developing countries, but also relative to GDP. So that puts Kenya at a disadvantage. And this is not to say that labor regulation is not needed. It's important to guarantee good labor practices, but at the same time, from the point of view of the employer or the producer, it makes producing in Kenya expensive relative to a country like Bangladesh, where labor costs are much lower. So this is a challenge. And at the same time, as I said before, it's not just about wages anymore, and it's not just about labor costs. There is much more firms care about, and that's perhaps one direction in which Kenya could take its trade.
Speaking about the role of trade in global development, we have seen in Africa development such as the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. How do you think this is likely to impact the continent and countries such as Kenya?
We are at a time when we see protectionism rising in advanced countries. It's not clear that countries in Africa, Kenya, can tap into the very lucrative developed country markets as East Asian economies have done in the past. But what is still feasible is to tap into the African market. This is a large market if it's an integrated market.
And elsewhere, barely a week after the National Treasury published the draft Coffee Berry Revolving Fund regulations, a section of farmers are questioning the proposal to have the fund managed by the new Kenya Planters Cooperative Union. The stakeholders, drawn from Kirinyaga and Embu counties, claim it would be a mistake to place the stewardship of the 3 billion shilling kitty under the new Planters Cooperative Union, saying the union has failed farmers in the past. Some, however, sought to quell the worries, saying the management of the union has been streamlined to cater to the sector's interests.
Our chief guest, I'm requesting people
going forward, we actually need a comprehensive coffee revival policy, coffee sector revival policy that looks all the way from production to marketing. Because already we have the challenge of the fact that the quality, the quantity and the quality has gone substantially down.
Mimi aswa sipingi maneno ya new KPCU. Kama hiyo new KPCU itawekewa sheria zile ambazo yule mtu atapewa hiyo aongoze ama viongozi wa new KPCU watakuwa na muongozo mzuri.
6 months after the National Treasury proposed to collapse the Uwezo Youth and Women Enterprise Funds into one known as the Biashara Fund, plans to set up yet another fund targeting micro, small and medium-sized businesses are in high gear. Alex Mwangi with that story.
Plans to launch a fund for small and medium enterprises are in high gear, even though its size is yet to be determined.
And we are ready with the draft regulations to operationalize that fund. These regulations will be subjected to public participation again from next week throughout the country.
Even as the government seeks to review the policy for micro, small and medium enterprises after 14 years, there's still one area where it keeps scoring on goals, and that is the delayed payment of VAT refunds.
The area we want an additional focus on is the issue of refunds for VAT, because this affects exporters.
With Rwanda continuously touting its speed in business registration, which takes 24 hours, I sought to find out the time it takes in Kenya and the targeted reduction in that period.
I do not have the specifics, but you are aware that we have come down to number 56 in the world ranking of ease of doing business.
At a forum to discuss the formulation of a policy for SMEs, micro and small enterprises came into sharp focus. MSEs are defined as those organizations with a turnover not exceeding 5 million shillings per annum and which employ not more than 50 people. A survey of micro, small and medium enterprises in 2016 revealed that there are 7.4 million micro and small enterprises, of which only 27.4% are registered. Most micro and small enterprises are in the service industry, that is trade, food and communication, as well as in the manufacturing sector. Micro and small enterprises account for 24% of GDP, compared to 36% in Malaysia, 38% in India, and 55% in South Africa. Alex Mwangi, NTV.
Now, the tussle between the Capital Markets Authority CMA and the investments firm Saiton is deepening, with the CMA defending its decision to block the company from onboarding new clients until a new trustee is appointed, a directive which has since been suspended by the High Court. In an affidavit filed before the court, CMA's Director of Market Operations Abubakar Hassan Abubakar has rubbished claims by Saiton that the decision was an ambush and malicious, arguing that the directive only meant to protect the interests of investors and the general public. Saiton's former trustee Cooperative Bank of Kenya issued a notice of resignation on 1st of August 2019, but Saiton had not yet appointed a successor for the scheme after 2 months as required by the law, prompting the regulator to take action. As at 31st December 2019, the fund manager held more than 710 million shillings worth of assets. Back to matters agriculture, there could be respite for mango farmers in Makueni County following the kickoff of a campaign against fruit flies. Mango farmers in the county and across the country in Kenya have been losing their produce to deterioration attributable to attacks by fruit flies. The campaign against fruit flies brings together stakeholders including the Ministry of Agriculture, USAID, and the Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate Service.
From the 5 billion shillings that we should get from mangoes, to lose about 2.3 billion shillings. Of course, with the efforts that have been made already in terms of fighting the fruit fly, we have recovered some of those losses.
Parties in the mango value chain will also be required to adhere to the new mango certification protocol to ensure compliance to the export standard.
And that takes us to the close of business. I leave you with a financial report.
Did you know? We've steered over 500,000 youth across the continent to brighter futures. Absa Group, serving Kenya as Barclays.
Prepare yourself for a new live bet experience. Top minute boosted live bet odds. Mozart, make a decision.
Welcome back. A showdown is looming this Friday in Kisumu as the County Assembly holds a special sitting to elect a new speaker. But even before that, eligibility questions have been raised.
It's not clear if one of the two contestants, who's a member of the County Assembly, has resigned from his position as required by law. Okusa asks the questions that no one appears to be responding to, at least with clarity.
And I believe in calculated risk.
A calculated risk indeed it is, more so when the body in charge of elections in the country says it is yet to be notified of any resignation by the North Kisumu Ward MCA.
The county office has not received any such a communication, but I'm also trying to find out whether they might have written to the chair of the commission.
According to Article 178(1) of the Constitution, each county assembly shall have a speaker elected by the county assembly from among persons who are not members of the assembly. The purported resignation is shrouded in mystery. The clerk of the county assembly, Owen Ojuok, the man who should have received the letter, remains evasive. But Oraro maintains that he has complied with the law.
I did that, and I believe that the risk I took is going to be a positive risk.
But even as the small matter of compliance rages on, Oraro's sole opponent in the Friday duel believes that he is best suited to steer the hitherto House of Anarchy back to order.
The assembly as it currently stands needs a person who is neutral so as to bring in some sanity and cohesiveness within the assembly. And I know that that's what informs the provision in the Constitution, which clearly states that the Speaker of the County Assembly must be a person who is not a member of the County Assembly.
Oraro took over the running of the Assembly as acting Speaker late last year, following the acrimonious impeachment of former Speaker Onyango Olu. For him, the Friday election is not just a contest, but a calculated risk. Okusa, NTV.
Now, an autopsy on the body of the 17-year-old boy allegedly shot and killed by police during the Mwiki demonstrations has revealed that he died due to trauma caused by a gunshot. The bullet pierced through his heart without causing injuries to his ribs.
The Independent Policing Oversight Authority says it has launched investigations into the incident. Zainab Ismail has more.
The autopsy report indicates that Stephen Machurusi, who was caught up in the chaos, was shot dead at close range. Machurusi had just concluded his secondary education at Mona High School in Molo. Now, the Independent Policing Oversight Authority has launched investigations into the incident. Also in their radar is a separate case where police are said to have shot dead a young man on 16th of January in Nairobi's Majengo estate.
IPOA has noted with a lot of concern that the misuse of firearm and use of excessive force continue to be the biggest challenge facing the National Police Service.
IPOA says it seeks to establish the circumstances that led to the shootings and if the security officers were justified in using excessive force.
The challenge is actually witnesses coming forth now for purposes of recording statements. You know, the threshold of some of the cases that we are investigating is beyond reasonable doubt. Therefore, if we don't have witnesses, we don't have a watertight case, and the prosecution or any action, including disciplinary action, cannot be taken against those officers.
IPOA says its mandate is limited to investigations and recommending appropriate action to the National Police Service Commission.
While we do our bit, we forward to the next government agency, and that's the way the work flows. And we want to believe that for those where prosecution has been recommended, that very soon we shall see the outcome of the very rigorous investigative work that the authority has undertaken.
According to the status of investigations released, IPOA highlighted 17 high-priority cases under investigations. Zainab Ismail, NTV.
It is 10 o'clock. We've got to take a break on NTV tonight. Brian Otwell has the sports when we return.
Prepare yourself for a new live bet experience. Top minute, boosted live bet odds. Mozart, make a decision.
Do you have what it takes to become the next generation of great innovators, business magnates, corporate icons, engineers, and renowned researchers? Be part of over 40,000 students pursuing and nurturing their career at Moi University. Enroll now for January, May, and September 2020 intakes for postgraduate, degree, and diploma programs in the following schools: School of Business and Economics, School of Arts and Social Sciences, School of Information Sciences, School of Education, School of Agriculture and Natural Resources, School of Biological and Physical Sciences, School of Tourism, Hospitality and Events Management, School of Aerospace Science, School of Public Health, School of Medicine, School of Engineering, School of Law, School of Nursing, School of Dentistry. Enroll now. Moi University, the foundation of knowledge.
Kupika kila mtu ajipikie yake. Na vyombo za nani? Kwa nani?
Am I not getting some?
Ice cream ya wageni. Wewe nitakuletea maji kwa jikoni.
A girl's gotta eat to keep up with you, Mr. Guns.
Well, that's absolutely correct.
This festive season, get a decoder with subscription at an unbelievable festive offer of only 1,499 shillings. You can also pay 1 month and enjoy 2 weeks free on a higher bouquet. For more information, call 0719 077 077.
Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
Lay it on there.
Here.
There. That's it. Yum. Eat up.
See that? He's finally getting what he deserves.
And beating him up isn't good enough for him. They should have killed him right then and there.
Yvonne.
Anna, why are you so concerned about Salvador?
I always thought I'd never love someone that way again. But then you showed up. And I learned to love again. What are you talking about? I overheard your conversation with one of the guards. Maybe you can, tag me along with you?
Siasa ya ukabila na chuki na mgawanyiko haitakuwepo tena.
Ruto should have the courage to face the president.
Iko shida hapa, iko shida pale, iko matatizo sijui iko na gani.
These are small things, wachana na hizo.
Jihadharini na manabii wa uongo. Wanakuja kwenu wakivalia ngozi ya kondoo.
Hamuwezi kunifukuza ODM ati mkanifuata ati mnanifukuza Jubilee. Kila mtu afanye kazi yake. Kama wewe ni mtu watchman, fanya kazi ya watchman. There is no need to hurry. Kuna wakati tutashindana kisiasa, no problem. Let us finish with BBI. We all don't have a problem with BBI. Where do they find the money to go campaigning for a document that has no opposition? Bora mwisho mwananchi anaamua, leteni.
NTV Sport.
Let's have a look at the day's sports news. Welcome, my name is Brian Otwal. A new year, new principal secretary in the Ministry of Sports, and the same old promises regarding sports, and in particular, the sports infrastructure. This is concerning the Nyayo Stadium. Let's have a look.
New Principal Secretary for Sports Joe Okuda officially took over from his predecessor Karimi Kaberia Wednesday morning. And hours later he toured the Nyayo National Stadium, whose renovation has stalled for the last 3 years. Okuda was part of a delegation that included Sports CS Amina Mohammed and Ministry of Public Works officials.
We have no reason to delay this anymore. I think it's become an eyesore for Kenyans who pass here every day to just look up and see this unfinished monster. And so we've agreed this work will get done. And so from next week, if you come here, you will find work ongoing day and night, because we need to complete this under instructions from His Excellency by March of this year.
We want everything to be perfect. And for that matter, we are actually going to prioritize works around here such that at the end of the day, we will have done what is required of us, because there are standards which have been set, and that's what we want to endeavor to meet.
Okuda, who took over from Ambassador Karimi Kaberia, knows he has his work cut out.
We are going back to the drawing board. We've put a whole new team together, not to say that the team that was there had a problem, but you have to look at things very differently based on everything that's on our plate. What we can promise you is that you'll be very proud of us at the end of the year.
With doping threatening to destroy the Kenyan athletics legacy, the ministry is talking tough.
We are going to test them randomly, everywhere, anywhere, at any time. So I think they should all be prepared for that because they cannot give our country a bad name.
Only time will tell if the promises from the ministry will this year come to fruition. Sean Carter-Villis, NTV.
Indeed, only time will tell. And the competitive nature of sports means disputes arise on and off the playing grounds. After years of disputes ending up in the courts of the land in Kenya, the Sports Dispute Tribunal was mooted. Lawyer John Ohaga, a former rugby player, is the man at the helm, and I had a chat with him at the start of his second term.
I, John Maurice Ohaga.
John Ohaga was admitted to the bar 30 years ago. The managing partner, the Triple OK Law, has since made a name for himself in the field of arbitration, locally and internationally. His expertise in the area saw him appointed the first chair of the Sports Disputes Tribunal. At the start of his second 5-year term, he reflects on the tribunal's impact.
Our philosophy is to inculcate a proper governance in the management of sports through the various federations. And so what we seek to do is to ensure that every decision that we make sends a message in one way or the other to the fact that unless there is proper governance in the management of sports, we will strike down decisions that federations make because really, the way I see it, sports is about the livelihood of our young people.
Can he stick to the grounds of appeal?
Most recently, the tribunal waded into the Football Kenya Federation elections to huge impact. What guides some of his judgments, I ask?
Well, what you want to see when you sit where I sit is you want to see a level playing field. You want to see that every candidate who aspires to office in an organization such as FKF is given the best possible opportunity. Number one, to put forward his or her agenda, philosophy, manifesto, whatever it is, and to compete on a level playing field. So that eventually, when there's a winner declared, there's an acceptance of that winner.
Solving disputes has seen Ohaga also get to positions of holding fort to save the federations.
Running the interim management committee of swimming has been the most challenging undertaking I have ever taken on in sports.
From his vantage point, Ohaga has a bird's eye view on what ails sports management in the country.
Funding is actually at the bottom of what ails our sports in this country. Because the problem is that we approach management of sports with a poverty mentality.
The Sports Act of 2013 envisioned the creation of a national sports lottery to tackle sports funding, but that remains a mirage.
But what did we then do? We then allowed private interests to occupy that space by exploiting sports for lottery, sports betting, and making a lot of money, and thereby appearing to be the ones now responsible for rescuing our sports. When government could itself have established a sports lottery and then been able to fund sports from that sports lottery.
Sports globally is a billion-dollar industry. Despite overwhelming success by Kenyan sports people, sports is yet to pay in Kenya. And the solution?
Professionalize sports to give our young people the opportunity to be able to exploit their talents to the best of their ability and to make a living from sport.
Until professionalism is wholly made part and parcel of Kenyan sports, then Ohaga and his team will continue occupying a front row seat in the Tower of Babel. And Football Kenya Federation elections riddle continues to confound stakeholders. The issue of participation of sub-branches yet to be resolved, even as a public participation exercise was held countrywide. FKF has called for a special general meeting next week, but its opponents are threatening a return to court. Vidyarthi Kiru has the details.
The Football Kenya Federation has called for a special general meeting on Tuesday next week as it continues its quest to hold the postponed football elections ahead of the FIFA deadline. The agenda of the meeting is to ratify the deliberations of consultative public meetings which sought to address the issues raised regarding the FKF Electoral Code and the FKF Electoral Board by the Sports Dispute Tribunal. Despite this attempt at public participation, the journey to the FKF elections seems set to encounter another bump.
The current office cannot be telling us there are no issues. You cannot bring the same documents back to us, the same code, the same measures back to us. It's mockery.
Presidential position aspirant businessman Steve Mburu, who was among those who went to court to stop the elections before ending up at the SDT, has vowed to repeat the same.
No sub-branch, no compliance, no elections.
With a fresh dispute looming, there is danger of Kenya missing out on the end of March 2020 deadline given by the FIFA delegation that visited the country last December.
Can we come together, all of us, and once and for all, bring inclusivity in football, bring sanity?
We actually agreed to meet again in Zurich in January 2020, together with the registrar, the Minister of Sports, and the FKF. So we will be able from there to agree on the last steps in order to ensure that this electoral process is actually carried out.
Failure to hold elections or interference from third parties would lead to a ban by FIFA. Nick Mwendwa is the incumbent with former FKF President Sam Nyamoya, former Vihiga Governor Moses Akaranga among those interested in unseating him. Warote Kiru, NTV.
And to the English Premier League matches later on, a few minutes from now. Third place Leicester City will be hoping to bounce back from 2 successive defeats when they host West Ham in one of the 3 English Premier League matches lined up. West Ham will be aiming for a second win in 4 matches under returning coach David Moyes. However, Leicester City have no fresh injury concerns and could welcome back midfielder Wilfred Ndidi, who has recovered from knee surgery. Meanwhile, Tottenham are looking for a first win in 5 matches when they
All right, well, the sports news does it on NTV tonight. That is all we have time for, and it is 10:15. So we leave it at that. Thanks for watching. Thanks to our sign language interpreter. I'm Smriti Vidyarthi. Good night.
Remember, tomorrow, Ruto speaks to NTV and addressing the nation, of course, with Ken Mujungu at 9 o'clock. Have yourself a good night. I'm Mark Masai.
This is NTV.